In conclusion, my food is, and what I actually do is it's not fusion. It's not just cooking. You know, I don't think that's enough. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to do art, and I always knew I'd do something in art. But I also knew that I always thought to myself that, man, I'm never going to be able to work because I won't be able to do anything unless it's meaningful. And what I actually do in my work at Mia's, I feel really, really good about it, because as difficult and challenging as it's been to not carry all these different ingredients around and not get noticed for what we're doing for years and years, and having people call our food fusion, it turns out that now I'm very, very fulfilled as a human being to treat the earth in the way that, say, like the Native Americans have. You know, I was talking, I went out for a bite before this and gorged, and I was telling my friend that when I eat, one of the things that I don't like to do anymore is just to stuff my face, you know, because I think it's a really American way to do things. And Native Americans, when they would kill like a deer, they would pray over it. Because they believe that there's a spirit that went through everything, you know, whether it's a sky or a rock or the ocean or a tree. In Shintoism in Japan, they believed in the exact same thing too. A lot of different indigenous cultures did, but we don't. So what I think my cuisine is that it's a logical progression, like I said, of sushi as it's evolving into something that's socially conscious, ecologically conscious. And then what I try to do in my recipes is have ingredients harmonize in ways that human beings have not figured out how to do with each other in nature. And I'll shut up now. Thank you for listening to me.
You know, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a couple questions, actually. One is, I'd like to get inside your head. I mean, where do these things come from? I mean, do you just... When you do these things, I mean, there's nobody else that's doing them that I'm aware of. Am I correct?
Yeah. Honestly, it comes from, I think I was very, very fortunate right off the bat. I don't know if you guys know, but Rob's wife is my favorite teacher I've ever had, and that was a few years ago in middle school. And many of the ideas that, the influences that I have as far as like connections to nature come from that time originally, like reading books like My Side of the Mountain or Light in the Forest with a Native American boy being, you know, the white child being kidnapped and then becoming an Indian. And then also I make sure that I surround myself with all sorts of really interesting and smart people, but it's not enough that they're interesting and smart to be a friend of mine, I think. I think you've got to have the same values, you know, and yeah, you know, and philosophies, then it becomes easier to actually get stuff done together, you know. And, you know, the guys that are here with me today are friends, but we're also working on stuff, and we also believe in the same things. So, you know, we've got a successful little business, and but I don't think that we would have a long-term business if we stayed like everyone else and just kind of thought in the same way as everyone else. I think ultimately what's going to give us legs in what we do is that we spent tons of time creating depth within ourselves, you know, in order to do something. Let me say, doing something different is a result of working really, really hard and trying to do the right thing and studying hard at the same time and having a lot of different people influence me along the way.
So is that like a mind expansion? It's a frame of reference? You're looking at different things and putting it together? Why isn't anybody else doing what you're doing?
I think a lot of the approach comes from my father, because my father was a scientist, and he's 77 now, and what he does for fun is he sits at the kitchen table and he reads and reads and reads and underlines and clips articles, and he's constantly calling me up and talking about different things. I got a little pad next to my bed too. I really, literally live for the idea, and I really live to do something special with a short time that I have, to live. So, not to be morbid or, completely serious about it, but yeah, that's how I approach my life and my work. And also, I don't have this thing where there's a division between my life and my work, or friends and, acquaintances and that kind of thing. I'm constantly working just as I am constantly breathing, and I'm aware of what I'm doing with my mind and the exercise I'm putting it through.
But where do the ideas come from?
I literally do, I live in a library pretty much. I'm surrounded by information and books and inspiration. Mia's has got many, many scholars and people who are from different environments, and, I've got, Tate over here is an architect. We just had, I was really honored to have a Pachuri in on Sunday, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for climate control. Then, for instance, I was working on the invasive species menu, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Richard Fuller, who is the president of the Blacksmith Institute that works internationally with pollution in poor countries. Mm-hmm. And he told me, hey, Bun, you know what? You don't have to concentrate on the carbon footprint. You're thinking about that too much. Let's think about the process of focusing on how the food is actually raised or caught. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't talk to an expert in the field, and I wouldn't have had access to them unless I had Mia's. But also, Mia's attracts people like that because Mia's appeals to a small sliver of the population who care enough about these things that we talk about to read a 60-page menu. But after you're done with that, then if you get it, you want to come back because the food is actually really good too.